Hello everybody and welcome back. This is your girl S.Nova, the Universal Donor, and I'd like to welcome you back to Stiletto Empress Tarot Oracle, acronym S.E.T. Welcome to the set. What set? Full set, all 10 nails, my G. Thank you so much for visiting at S.E.T.ORACLE. I appreciate all the love. Thank you so much for your likes, comments, shares, and subscribes. Please tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend so we can all be friends around here. All right, we're going to get straight into it. This is a collective read. All signs included. So take what resonates, leave what does not. So let's see what deck we're going to use. Eeny, meeny, miny, moe, catch a piggy, butter, toe, y'all is love, eeny, meeny, miny, moe. I'm going to go ahead and use this deck here. I'm going to do a little bit of shuffling. So Father God, Most High, Collective, and Ancestors, I ask that you grant the collective the serenity to accept the things that they cannot change, the courage to change the things that they can, and the wisdom to know the difference. All right, what's the first card we got out here? We're just going to do big picture today on this set. So, non-player. Okay. Big show. Are we seeing my drawings? I like to draw it out. And 2019. So, possibly around 2019, somebody who's a non-player, non-factor, irrelevant, put on some type of big show. They wanted to, get some type of attention. They wanted to end something that'll lead to a new beginning. They took some type of action, and there are some personal truths that may be coming out for why they put on this big show during that time. 2019 also breaks down to a 12. 12 breaks down to a 3. So something is definitely being acknowledged. And the third house is intellect, which is also communication. So something is being acknowledged and communicated about how this non-player put on such a big show 2019 or somewhere around there. 10th house, career, reputation, moral condition, direction, life goals. So this person put on a big show possibly about, who they are versus who somebody else is. Almost trying to end somebody's new beginning and possibly do something to someone's reputation, alter their morals or life goals, probably put an ending to their new career, personal achievements. See? Defamation, yeah. This non-player defamed somebody, trying to ruin their reputation, their personal achievements, their life goals, trying to end somebody's fresh start, instability. Simon says, they had people help them. They had people help defame you, collective, to stop you from having a new beginning, to stop you from being stable, to stop you from having love, to stop you from being focused. They wanted to stagnate you and throw off your focus with your, so they told lies to ruin your reputation and your career. Saturn, responsibility and rules, that's the 10th house. So they wanted people to see you. They put on this big show about how you're a vigilante, how you're not responsible, you don't take care of your responsibilities, you're morally incorrect, your life isn't in order, you haven't achieved anything. This non-player, it seems like with all this defamation, they had people working with them and getting creative with these stories because they're a non-factor. I found my heaven within, and I don't mind sharing with you. You moved on from this person, and you were okay with finding balance within yourself. You were focused on your soul purpose. You were getting a fresh start in your own stability. And because you didn't want to share that fresh start with this non-player, they decided that they wanted to defame your character by telling people things about you. And that way people went around telling other people things about you to defame your character and make you seem, unruly and irresponsible. Stockholm Syndrome. Hostage has bond with captors. Internalized, rationalized physical and or emotional abuse. So this person felt like they had a right to do this to you. They felt like because you moved on with life and didn't look back and didn't want to be, it almost seems like this person, once this person became irrelevant in your life and you move forward to your new beginning, they began to tell people things about you to where they would believe that this defamation of character is justified. They began to tell people things about you so that way they can sympathize with them in order for them to rationalize why this defamation of character was relevant. Yeah, so they pretty much told people lies about what you do, who you are as a person, so that way they can gain sympathy. And with that sympathy, people will be like, well, yeah, you're right. You should do this and you should do that. You have every right to do this. You have every right to do that. And then they went around telling other people. They went around telling everybody that they could to get them to sympathize with this defamation of your character. Therefore, internalizing the physical and or emotional abuse they caused you. They made it seem like it was rational by getting these people to sympathize with them. These people made it seem like they were being rational in the defamation that they were taking against you. Rolf. Third person, third present. To treat, massage, term, aim at, release, realignment of the body. Release, allow, enable to escape from confinement or to set free. Realign, that action of changing, restoring to different or former positions. Okay, so pretty much this person didn't want to let you go. They didn't want to let you go. So they wanted to alter your life's direction and goals by changing the way people saw you, which is why they defamed your character. They didn't want to let you go, but they wanted to alter your life and alter how people saw you, so that way these people can in turn say you have every right to defame this person, when really and truly it was all because you moved on in life, and they put on a big show about it. They put on a big show about you moving forward in life. So they defamed your character to others to gain sympathy in order for them to agree with what they were doing wrong was in fact right, because you found balance within yourself and was moving forward in life. They always knew who you are. Not always knew who you were. They always knew who you are. So this non-player that went around telling everybody false things about you always knew that you were a good person. They knew who you are. And yet they chose to defame your character anyway. Knew who you are. So back then they knew it. 2019, they knew it. They knew exactly who you were when they decided to go around telling people bad things about you. When they know who you are. They knew who you were then, and they know who you are now. They've always known it. They always knew who you are. But they decided to go around defaming your character anyway, because you moved on. And they told all these people all of this different stuff that they kept repeating to others. That way they would side with this non-player and they would have justification in defaming your character. Control your thoughts or they will control you. They couldn't control themselves. They hated the fact that you were in control of yourself. They hated the fact that you were balanced and you were stable. They couldn't take that. In 2019, they felt like, how dare you walk away from me? How dare you move on to another stage of life? How dare you find your balance? How dare you end something with me and go on to a new beginning? How dare you stay focused on your sole purpose? So they put on this whole big show to gain sympathy from all these people to defame your character. And they internalized this. They felt they had every right to do this. And these people that they told made them feel like it was a rational decision to defame your character because they told them lies to gain empathy. They couldn't control themselves. 2044. That breaks down to a 10. Completion, endings. Completion of a cycle. Start a new cycle. They didn't want you to have that. They didn't want you to have balance and harmony. They didn't want you to have partnerships. They didn't want you to have love. They didn't want you to be on your soul mission. They didn't want you to have a solid foundation. So they tried to alter that. They tried to alter how people saw you so that way you would never have that. So this person put on a big show, defaming your character to others starting in 2019, so that way people would sympathize with them in regards to defaming you and trying to stop you from moving forward, trying to ruin your reputation, trying to disrupt your stability, and trying to destroy your career. Seventh house. What did I tell you? They didn't want you to have friends. They didn't want you to have partnerships. They didn't want you to get justice. Seventh house is Libra, justice, relationships. They didn't want you to have any of that. And now they're in some type of debt. They did all of this for money. They did all of this for money. They wanted people to sympathize with them, to defame your character so they could get money. Titanic, they put on a big show to sink you. But they're actually sinking now. Game Day. As soon as they got people to rationalize with them, they were on go time. That's when the physical and emotional abuse started, 2019. When they told everybody lies about you. And everybody was like, well, yeah, if they did this and they did that, you have every right to do what you're going to do. Go time. But whatever they said about you, that's over. Whatever deals they made on behalf of defaming your character, that's over. They can't tell lies on you anymore. The scales are being balanced. What did I tell you? Libra energy, right? Yeah. They can't do this anymore. It's over. The scales are being balanced. And now they're crying. They're crying about it because it's over. They're crying because they don't want to let you go, and they can't change the trajectory of your life. Hurt you because you show no scars. They wanted to break you down because you were strong, because you were focused, because you kept expanding, you kept growing. Predator versus alien. They came after you because you're a creative being. You're not of this world. You're different. They came after you because you're different. They really wanted to, inflict some kind of physical or emotional abuse towards you. Some harm. And they got the go-ahead from other people by telling them lies, defaming your character, lying about your career, lying about your reputation, lying about your personal achievements, And they did that because you're different. You can't make somebody love you. That's what it was. They were trying to force you to be with them because you found your heaven within. You found your soul purpose. You were a living example of what everybody can do. And they were, by defaming your character, they were trying to make you come back to them in some way, some shape. Like, I don't even understand that. How about talking bad about somebody and trying to make them feel bad about being on their soul's purpose? They'd be like, oh, maybe I should go back to this non-factor. Non-player means you're not even in the game. You're not doing anything productive in life. You want somebody to sit there with your non-growing behind? I don't think so. No growth in your life, and you want somebody to sit there with you? I don't think so. You can't make nobody stay with you. And then on top of that, they chose somebody else. They did that to make you jealous. They were fake altogether. Their career, their reputation, their life goals, whatever they tried to tell people that they were, that was a lie. Definitely fake on that. Trying to control the narrative when all of it was fake. It was all a lie. IP address. They could have possibly been trying to find you during 2019. Trying to control the narrative about you. They could have did some things online. Cyber crimes. There may be some charges involved. Law enforcement may be involved. They may have committed fraud in your name. Because remember, we saw debit and credit cards. So yeah, trying to defame you, trying to ruin your reputation. They may have done some cyber crimes and some fraud in your name. And they felt justified in doing it. To steal your wealth and good fortune. very immature and simple-minded. That's why they put on this big show, because they were extremely immature and simple-minded. And they did not want anybody to come to your rescue. They did not want anybody to help you. Because you're hardworking, you're patient, you're reliable, and you're honest. They hated the good person you are because they always knew who you are. And they were just mad that they couldn't be that. They could have had military personnel to help them. They could have possibly been military personnel. And they worked hard at exploiting you. They definitely worked hard to exploit you. To take away your family, finances, and assets. They felt like they had every right to do that. They wanted your life. They wanted to break down everything you had so they could have it. They know you did nothing wrong. You absolutely are not at fault for your abuse. They know you didn't do anything wrong, but they lied on you and they wanted to take what you had. Just out of jealousy, because they're a non-player. And they mocked everything you do. That's why they defamed your character. They defamed your character because you were solid in yourself and they wanted to be you. They done messed up the church's money. So they could have borrowed money from a group to do this. Doesn't necessarily have to be a church. But they definitely could have got all these people involved and got them to give them money so that way they could defame your character on a legal standpoint. And it wasn't an accident. The defamation was not an accident. And for whatever they did back in 2019, knowing you did nothing wrong, there may be federal charges. One last. 9th house, higher mind, Jupiter, expanded consciousness, and you're still going to grow from this. You're still elevating. No matter what they did to you to gain sympathy, to get people to give them the green light on physically and emotionally abusing you, you still grew from this. At the end of the day, collective, know that they couldn't stop you. They tried. They've been trying for a long time. This non-player has been putting on a big show since 2019 to defame who you are, all because you found your soul's purpose. And they felt like they had every right to hold on to you and alter how people saw you, even though they always knew who you were. Yet they could not control themselves. And you're still in balance. You're still in harmony. And you're still in alignment.